Perceptual blindness is our tendency to fail to notice unexpected or salient stimuli in our visual field, even though the stimuli are fully visible. In other words, we become blind to certain objects or events because our attention is focused on something else, leading us to miss what is happening right in front of us. This is why perceptual blindness is also known as inattentional blindness. Imagine you are sitting in a quiet room, engrossed in a captivating book that you cannot put down. As you read, the world outside the pages seems to vanish, and you become oblivious to everything around you. The passing time, the ambient sounds, and even the people nearby all fade away. Your attention is fully fixated on the words on the pages, creating a bubble of perceptual blindness. When we are deeply absorbed in a task, we can become blind to everything else happening in our surroundings. This experience is similar to the most famous example of perceptual blindness, invisible gorilla experiment. In this experiment, participants were asked to watch a video of people passing basketballs and count how many times the ball was passed between members of the same team. During the video, a person in the gorilla suit would walk through the scene. Surprisingly, many participants completely failed to notice the gorilla because they were so focused on the task of counting basketball passes. Our attention is like a spotlight, selective and sharp. It illuminates what matters and casts the rest into shadow. When we focus on a task, we use our precious cognitive resources, which are unlimited supply, channeling them into a laser-like beam. It's like our brain's way of saying, this is what matters right now. But that attention comes at a price. Our perception narrows. The world outside the spotlight becomes perceptually invisible. It's not just we ignore what's around us. We may not even realize it's there. Our perception is not just about what our eyes see. It's about what our minds choose to see. We see what we want to see. Attention is a limited and finite resource. There is only so much we can attend to at any given moment. Our brain is an energy-demanding organ, consuming a substantial portion of the body's energy supply. It requires a constant supply of glucose and oxygen to function optimally. However, the brain's metabolic resources are finite, so the brain must efficiently manage its energy expenditure to ensure essential cognitive processes continue while also accommodating new tasks or stimuli that require attention. When we focus our attention on a specific task or stimuli, the brain reallocates its energy resources to the relevant brain regions involved in processing that information. This is known as functional specialization, where different brain areas are responsible for specific cognitive functions. When we pay attention to something, the corresponding brain regions become more active and receive a greater share of the available energy resources. On the other hand, when we divert our attention away from a task or stimuli, the brain's metabolic activity in the corresponding regions decreases, and energy is redistributed to other brain areas or processes. This is why our brain cannot fully process all of the sensory information from our environment simultaneously and constantly. Instead, the brain's attentional system works to select and focus on relevant stimuli while suppressing irrelevant or less important ones. This selective attention allows us to concentrate on specific tasks, filter out distractions, and process information efficiently. It helps us stay on track and avoid being overwhelmed by the vast amount of sensory input bombarding us at any given moment. In our fast-paced world, multitasking is often glorified and seen as a valuable skill. However, the reality is quite different. Rather than multiplying our attention, multitasking actually divides our attention. Albert Einstein once said, "Any man who can drive safely while kissing a pretty girl is simply not giving the kiss the attention it deserves." When we try to juggle multiple tasks simultaneously, our cognitive resources become spread thin, leading to a dilution of focus and a decline in overall performance. The brain's attentional system does not work well for handling multiple tasks simultaneously. Instead, it operates more effectively when focused on one task at a time. When we switch rapidly between tasks, the brain incurs a switching cost, where it takes time and cognitive effort to readjust our focus each time we change our tasks. As a result, our attention becomes fragmented, and our ability to concentrate on any single task diminishes. Moreover, attempting to multitask can lead to mistakes and reduced efficiency. Our brains have limited capacity, and trying to handle multiple tasks at once overloads the cognitive system, leading to errors and incomplete processing of information. This is why multitasking is often a drain on our limited cognitive resources. Multitasking is not a doorway to efficiency, it's a pathway to distraction. Instead of multitasking, it's more productive and beneficial to approach tasks sequentially, giving our full attention to one task at a time. By doing so, we can use our cognitive resources more effectively, maintain focus, and achieve better overall performance. Consider this scenario. You are in a group meeting. You glance around the meeting room. What do you see? Chances are you'll spot laptops open, smartphones glowing. Many people are multitasking. But are they truly engaged? Group meetings are convened for a purpose: brainstorming, collective deliberation, group discussion, and decision-making. Meetings are a platform where diverse thoughts blend to create actionable solutions. When laptops and cell phones become attendees at the meeting, they silently divert our attention from the meeting agenda. We become perceptually blind to the live discussion. Those shared ideas, conveyed nuances, and expressed emotions fade into the background. We are physically present, but mentally absent. The irony is that the very tools that are meant to increase information access and communication become barriers to connection and collaboration. Effective meetings thrive on attention and human engagement. What are effective meeting practices? Here are 2 recommendations. First, pre-meeting preparation. If information gathering is essential, get it done before the meeting. Do not make it a sideshow during the meeting. Require meeting goers to arrive with the insights they need, ready to engage fully in the meeting. Second, create device-free zones. Consider creating a culture where meetings are sacred spaces for human interaction. Devices can wait outside the door. Ideas and empathy can fill the meeting room. Do you still remember how to calculate the opportunity cost of meetings? Respect each meeting goer's time. Now we may need to add the cost of attention to the equation used to calculate opportunity cost of meetings. Perceptual blindness applies to our hearing as well. Do you often take pride in your ability to tune in to what matters? But can our ears deceive us? Are our minds filtering out more than the irrelevant background noise? In one experiment, participants were in a room where there was a captivating conversation between 2 women, each word pulling you deeper into their world. Suddenly, a male voice cuts through the room declaring, "I am a gorilla," for 19 seconds. It seems impossible to miss, right? But in the experiment, 70% of the participants were entirely deaf to the gorilla in the room. Again, when we are deeply focused on something, our attention becomes a narrow spotlight, and anything outside that spotlight, even if it's right before our eyes or ears, can go unnoticed. Think back to the last heated argument you were in. Was your focus so intent on proving your point that you lost hearing what the other person was really saying? That's a selective hearing in action. Perceptual blindness can also occur when changes are gradual. Small ethical lapses can snowball into significant misconduct. In one experiment, participants were divided into two roles, estimators and auditors. Estimators were responsible for estimating the amount of money in jars filled with pennies. They were rewarded not for accuracy, but when their high estimates were approved by auditors. Auditors' job was to approve or reject the estimators' estimates. They were rewarded for approving them, but the auditors were penalized if caught accepting an extreme overestimate. When the estimators gradually inflated their numbers, the auditors were less likely to see the estimates as exaggerated or unethical than if the same exaggerated number was suddenly presented. This experiment demonstrates the essence of the slippery slope in ethical decision-making. What begins as a minor bending of rules or a slight exaggeration can gradually evolve into something far more serious. Each step may seem inconsequential, but the cumulative effect is a descent into unethical behavior. Our minds are not attuned to gradually shift. Just as we do not notice a slow change in the landscape we see every day, we overlook slow, creeping ethical compromises. This perceptual blindness to gradual change is what allows a small lapse to grow into a scandal. What eventually erupts into public outrage often has its roots in small, overlooked transgressions that were allowed to fester and grow. The saying rings true: do not turn a blind eye to small ethical transgressions because they never remain small. For leaders, ethics is not just about grand principles, it's about everyday choices, the small decisions that define who we are and what we stand for. The gradual drift into unethical behavior is not a rarity, it's a risk that lurks in the shadows of every decision, every approval, and every compromise. What's the relationship between perceptual blindness and power? Those who hold power, be it in a leadership role or simply the feeling of being powerful, often develop enhanced perceptions of themselves. This self-focus has a dark side. It leads to less attention to others and more attention to themselves. As a result, people in power positions are more prone to dismiss others' advice, spend less time engaging in conversations, and more time delivering monologues, and miss the nuances in dialogue. It's not merely about what's said, it's about what's heard, or rather, what's chosen to be heard. From my previous videos, we've learned many mental shortcuts that are influenced by power and how they undermine leaders' decision-making. They include attentional bias, confirmation bias, and overconfidence bias. Today, we can add to that list perceptual blindness, another layer of a psychological process that makes leaders and power holders make poor decisions. How to mitigate perceptual blindness in decision-making? It takes more than just sheer willpower or intuition. When you make decisions as an individual, here are some suggestions. First, create a checklist. Before making a decision, outline a clear list of criteria or aspects to focus on. They are what you pay attention to. Second, be aware of your mental state. Knowing that being tired, stressed, overly busy, or in emotional turmoil can drain your attention and amplify perceptual blindness. Your mental and emotional state forms the lens through which you process information and reach a decision. Third, rest and reflect. If you are in a compromised state, such as being tired, stressed, overly busy, or in emotional turmoil, take time to replenish your attention. Rest, sleep, or engage in activities that calm your mind before making a decision. Clarity often comes with pause and reflection. How to mitigate perceptual blindness in group decision-making? As a team leader, you can assign different focus areas, distribute responsibilities among group members, allowing each member to concentrate on different options or aspects of the options. By distributing attention, you create a collective lens that's less likely to miss important details. You should also encourage diverse perspectives. A culture where diverse viewpoints are welcomed can function as a safeguard against perceptual blindness. Different perspectives can illuminate blind spots that may go unnoticed by a homogeneous group. The human mind, with its tendencies to wander, can be guided to clearer perception through intention and structure. A decision, after all, is a pathway to future we choose, and having the clearest vision of that path is not just a cognitive exercise, but a responsibility we owe to ourselves and those affected by our decisions. Start observing your decision-making process and those of others around you. See if you can spot instances of perceptual blindness. Please feel free to share your comments below. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.